It's like communion. Communion has a new meaning.
Mm. I think every word we use get a much broader perspective once we do it here.
Yeah, yeah.
We get to investigate and align with the words.
Yeah. Yeah, and we integrate them in a new way.
Mm-hmm. And like the day we made the soup, we put them together in different ways so they get different perspective.
Yeah. New recipe every day.
Yep.
There's connection in united.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have to connect if they want to unite.
Yeah.
They don't have to agree about everything, but they have to allow the other point of view also.
Yeah. Yeah, like as in coexist.
Mm-hmm.
So when we open wide and step into the space in between, we find new.
And lots of possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. Potentials,
Mm-hmm.
potential energies.
When we say the space between, what's it between?
Does it matter?
I normally say the space between spaces.
Well,
Maybe, yeah,
Right.
maybe that is different.
My point is the structures. It's between, if we say between, then that would mean 2 points. At least 2. And they could be as big as nothing and everything as the space between.
Where something is.
Mhm. It could be between the expected and where we are. It's why it matters is we're always creating the points. We just are not always aware we do it.
Yeah, and we don't always connect the dots either.
Mhm. Not that we have to. It just allows us to be more open, connected, united, new. Aware of our fixedness. That's the space between, is aware of the fixedness. It's the fixedness is the points. The end points. Fixedness is the end points.
So what if we could adjust the points?
That's what I believe the awareness of the points is all about. Is to adjust them, to open them, to make them wider. Because any time it's like that space we step into, right, is only there for the time that we have those points. And then we change our points, changes the space. Even everything and nothing, those 2 points are limited, are fixed, right? Because meaning we can change the points from those to be something in between those. Or said another way, we change the focus. I think that's exactly what we're doing, Craig, is just changing the quote points.
Wow. That's where preconception comes in.
I think sometimes we are expanding the points also.
Yeah.
So there's not only one place to go into the point. There's many ways. It's got a bigger reception.
And then connecting them, aligning them, uniting them, rather than separating them, uniting them.
Mm-hmm.
Preconception examines the potential of the points.
Mm-hmm.
The intention, the experience, the feelings are between the points.
Yeah.
Tension between the structures, the tension of the structure. And so 2 points, we can be open about what we want. Or what we don't want. Sounds crazy to think that we would ever put that second structure in play. But it's something we are always doing. Something I was always doing before I noticed the points. Avoiding everything we didn't want, avoiding everything we didn't want, thinking those 2 negatives would give us what we wanted. when it's just as easy to say, this is what I want. Just explore the space between that.
So why do we tend to get what we don't want?
Part of the experience. Sometimes we get what we want, sometimes we get what we don't want.
Can't hear you, Heinz.
The experience. Sometimes we get what we want, sometimes we get what we don't want. Imagine you only got what you wanted. You wouldn't get much experience from that with the possibility of growth and making stuff you wanted from stuff you didn't want.
Yeah. So how many years do you have to live before you hit the tipping point?
Do we ever hit that? I think just as we
Well,
think,
that's what I'm asking. That's kind of like, it seems like that's kind of an ingrained belief that you're going to get both.
yeah, but sometimes when people have got what they wanted, then they realize that wasn't actually the way they wanted it.
Yes. Yeah. That happens when you put how into the intention.
Mm.
And it could be when we put a material thing in there as that's what we want.
Yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
ultimately it's the feeling is what we want from that material thing. It's the feeling we want from it. Or that condition. We want this environment. We want these things to happen. And underneath that is, well, there's an experience, there's a feeling, an emotion that that will give us. Will allow for. It's like that's uncovering the one that's underneath of it. With a great question after what is it we want? What will that give us? And just to be aware that those are, without going deeper into it, meaning the second layer for what will that give us, it's an unresolvable structure, meaning we'll get there and be disappointed.
Like people saying, I don't want to be alone. And when they finally get someone, can I get some alone time, please?
Mm-hmm. This is the reality, right? The reality is we need both.
Yep. Balance.
Yeah.
I used to say and it was way internal, it was like self-thinking that I was unaware of. It's when I have money, then I can be happy. When I have blank, then I can have the experience, right? Then I'll allow myself to enjoy it. So what does that mean I do until then?
Mm-hmm.
You don't enjoy anything.
You should enjoy getting there.
Right. It's like, no, I had to put it off.
It's like many people say, I'll do that when I retire. I have
Yeah.
money enough.
Which is like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it's what Tim Ferriss calls the deferred life plan. You know, when this happens, I'll live. I'll be
Yeah.
living, you know,
Right.
when I get this, I'll be living.
That's right.
You
Life
know,
will
it's
be
all pie in
better.
the sky by and by, right? Or life will be
It'll be
better,
better
or whatever.
when.
Yeah, it'll be better when. And the problem is when never comes.
That's right. But it doesn't keep us from trying or saying it. I mean, we live in a world that bombards us with shit that says we have to have in order to keep up, belong, be part of a economy that thrives on that thinking.
Yeah, and if there's a preconceived idea of how something's going to show up,
And when it show up, we start saying, "What's next? What's next?" Instead of
yeah,
enjoying.
there's a curious phenomenon in the New Testament that brings to mind for me, and that is Jesus healed a lot of people who were blind, a number of people who were blind. And it seems like he never used the same method twice. Like one time he spits on the ground and kind of makes mud, and he puts that on the blind person's eyes. And another time he just touches them. Another time he does something else.
Probably a way of showing there are many different ways to the same result.
Yeah, yeah, or that the method used would be unique to that particular person.
Mm-hmm. That we are individuals.
Yeah.
No, the preconception of that is what's invisible before the action, right?
Right.
The obvious for me is that it's the intention behind it. The intention of this metaphor or real, right? It's like the intention is for this person to see. Why would they ever write about one that it didn't when it didn't work?
That's a good question. Maybe there were times it didn't work.
I don't know. It'd be hard to have a following, right? If it,
Yeah. But there's also these words that show up. Your faith has made you whole.
yeah, exactly. Whose
You know what I
faith?
mean? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because without a doubt, that was in my mind. It's like, well, who's really doing the healing here?
So maybe it's about identifying, being able to identify that one little mustard seed of faith in somebody and work with that.
Mm.
To me, that's the same as identifying a crack in the armor.
And I hear the armor as defense. Let's say the defense we put up over our heart
Yes. Yes.
or over believing that it's possible, or it could be true, it could happen.
And other people have told them they're blind. How can they expect to see?
Yep.
Sort of the magician's assistant. Move their focus away from the problem and see the solution.
Yep. And even alive and well today in religion, the Bible is that Jesus healed everyone.
But he also only healed the ones who wanted to be healed.
Mm. That's right. They had to make their intention. So there's the united, there's the connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was those that were believe that it could be possible. It's like then it's that intersection, that connection, that unitedness. There's something about giving our power to it though, too. It meaning giving our power to giving our power to someone else, something else, rather than saying, no, it part of this is I'm part of the formula. I don't accept the limits that have been put on me or I put on myself. I don't accept the end points, the fixedness.
They created a new space between the 2 points.
Or all new points altogether.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what the opposites do. When we look at the opposites, which is where you said, Craig, like, why is it if we avoid everything we don't want is not the same as getting what we want.
Yeah,
They're opposites of each other. That polarity, man, it works for everything. It's so fundamental in our being, in our conditioning, our preconception, probably.
yeah,
Preconception of an idea and preconception of birth, right? It's between those places.
yeah.
Have you ever had an idea? Let's see, how would I phrase this? Have you ever had an idea in the future? Have you ever had have you ever had an idea in the future? My point is I know you can only have it in the moment. Is it preconceived? Yeah, probably, right? For a future present. We can assume we'll have an idea in the future. We'll assume we'll get an idea. We just don't know what it is until the present moment, until it reveals itself.
Good morning, Pascal.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Pascal.
Good morning.
Hey, Pascal, you're going to love this one. We are preconceiving for a future present.
Hmm.
So you can imagine yourself getting an idea tomorrow. Or whenever you want in the future.
You guys are thinking too much.
Well, that didn't come out from thinking. Trust me.
Almost like you can imagine it and create it.
Mm,
I couldn't
That's
hear
good.
you, Pascal.
Can't hear me?
That's better. I got you now. Muffled, but
That's it, really? Well, thanks for your
yeah, you're
pretty bad.
unless
Yeah, I'll just change it. They were more comfortable, but can't hear me.
yeah, it's pretty muffled.
That's the one I used in the sauna, so I think they, they took a little bit of water. Steam.
It sounds like you're underwater.
Oh, is it? Oh, good, good. So they work.
Good morning, Alison.
Good afternoon, Hans. Good morning, Pascal.
Good morning, Austin.
Morning, Jesse.
Good morning, Allison.
I go change my earphone. I'm underwater, apparently.
The sound of Pascal drowning.
No, he's just swimming in the void. It's not an unusual place for him, actually.
All right, did I come back on the surface?
Are you surfacing?
Not surfing. Surfacing.
It's about the same.
Is it? Okay, so I think like it's the connection for my. You know now, like they do, like 'cause they want everybody like to plug like Bluetooth, but I'm old school. I like the wire,
Mm.
and but then like my phone, you need to have an adapter because there's no two holes now on the phone.
I was just gonna
You
ask
need an
about,
adapter. What?
I was just gonna ask about that. How do you do that?
Yeah, so like
Because-
you got like a charging plug that's converted to your your jack. like your earphone. So you cannot
Okay.
charge it and then like, hear it. Before, like I could just plug in the truck and it was charging and I could hear it with my earphone. But now I cannot do that. So one or the other. Or I use Bluetooth. So it's very muffled right now.
That's
Oh, yeah.
clear.
It's better now, yep.
It's better? Okay. Stop moving.
Yeah, because you're out walking, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I kind of tuck the cord inside and fold it a certain way.
Yeah. You're probably between towers. Yeah, between towers.
No, I don't think it's that. It's really that connection because like I use it so much that this little adapter folds like so many times. So
Good morning.
yeah.
So our words this morning have been preconception, preconceiving connections, open senses, watchfulness, new and united, and preconceiving the future's presence. Allison's adding vibrant and community. And in that, I'll focus intention. What's our intention? What's your intention? At a minimum, just ask, what is my intention? To yourself. Wait for an answer. Listen for one. I didn't get one.
What I really want is a unique how to show up.
Unique how, right?
Yeah, a unique how. HOW.
Mm. That's your intention.
No, that's what I want.
And how would you know when you got it?
Because it's a big surprise. It's like that recode you did with me a couple days ago. I was just amazed what showed up. And I knew that what showed up was true. And correct.
And how would you know it's true?
Muscle testing.
Mm.
And the overall sense of it.
Really.
So it's a known surprise.
Just notice how I want surprises to be good. How I expect surprises to bring positive. Right? And then if I'm surprised and something goes negative, how that's a different surprise.
So what's the difference between positive and negative?
Just what I make it to be.
Yeah, it's an expectation.
Yep,
This outcome would be positive, this outcome would be negative.
that's right.
Yeah, it's an interpretation. Right?
Yeah,
I'm just connecting it to the word surprise. Surprise, you lost your clients. Right? Surprise, you lost your revenue. Still a surprise, right?
yeah,
Surprise,
So-
it's your birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, but what makes those negative?
What we attach
He's
to
just,
that.
just, yeah, he's just talking to the fact of being aware of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's the attachment of self. We have no attachment that feels up good or bad, and we're free.
That's interesting because what I'm thinking about too then is if you don't have attachment in it to the outcome, would it ever be a surprise?
The neutral surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one,
Yeah.
Pascal.
Yeah, it's because we're not happy with the present moment, so we have attachment.
Mm. So simple.
Yeah.
If we're completely fine with what is at the moment, then does it really matter if it's good or bad?
Exactly.
Yeah, like I really don't know why I'm where I'm at in my life right now. But I'm okay with that because I sense that I'm on the correct path for me. You know, I keep getting these little synchronicity hits pretty much every day.
Yeah, you created these events in your life because you knew you could handle them.
You say that again, Pascal?
You create these events in your life, good or bad, because you knew that you could handle them.
So why don't we just create good ones?
Because sometimes you need a stepping stone.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I just sense that cosmic intelligence is orchestrating everything.
And then we just say, well, everything's good then.
No, we don't say that either. We don't judge it. We don't evaluate it.
You could say it's all for my highest good.
Yeah.
Like I was in business for 3 years, the window cleaning business, and I hated it. Maybe because like I didn't I didn't agree with my business partner or not. But what I really love is driving. But like for 3 years, yeah, I could drive like small trucks and whatnot, but that's not fun for me. I like the big stuff. And without like ending this business in a bad way, you would say, then I couldn't do really what I love. And at first like I was just like when he bought the chair and whatnot, I was just devastating. I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And then I took a step back and be like, what do I really love? Like, what are my skills in the building? So I came back to like the drawing board and I was like, driving, has to be driving. That's what I love. And funny enough, like, so I had like a small job just to get a little bit of experience so I could show the city that I have a little bit of experience. They asked me like 2 years experience, but I probably had 2 months. And so got the job right away. And when started, I started talking with coworkers around and they were saying, oh my God, like this job like took me like 5 years, 5 times like I apply every year. I wanted to get this job. I'm like, what? Really? I thought it was the easiest interview ever for me. And I don't think I'm like amazing in interview. Just like they make me comfortable. Like I don't know, it was just like what I love, and then like I really want it, so I went for it. But without like you know not having the business, then like I would have been stuck still, right? Still in business, still miserable, not doing what I love. And don't get me wrong, like the business was way better in terms of money, you know, but stress every day, like, oh, but yeah, like if you get synchronicity, Craig, like that's it. You know, that's it. You're on the right path.
I love that story, Pascal. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is that there were a few things that you had to take into consideration, but your primary one was to be able to drive big trucks
Mhm.
because that's what you really like doing.
Yeah.
And you'd rather do that than be bothered about the smell of things when you dump them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I really love that because I always feel so bad for the garbage guys.
Actually, garbage is not that bad. Like I do compost and
Oh,
lifting lids sometime in the summer when it's been there for like a week, and you get the maggots and like you get like worms, and you get all that stuff. You got like the rotten fish and
mm.
yeah, yeah, it's a pleasure, pleasure. Yeah, yeah.
Changing nappies was definitely never an issue for you.
No, no.
It's interesting what will pull us, eh?
What? Sorry?
What will pull on
Oh
us.
yeah.
That's what we love. We
Yeah.
just get that notion, this is what I want to do.
Yep. And then, oh, is it right? How do I do it? Do I do it right? Do I go about it right? How do I do it right? All of those questions, rather. It's just no,
Yeah.
just follow the poll.
Yeah.
I remember early on paying attention to awareness. What I noticed was it took at first it would probably hit me 5 times before I was aware of it. It's like there's an idea, and it's like about the fifth time I'd pay attention to it or start looking for it, right? Or like exploring it, creating the space between it. And then I noticed I got quicker with it, where it'd be about 3. So about it hit 3 times, and then I'd go into it.
Mm. I just got something for you, Craig. Use your dragon. Use your
You
dragon.
use my dragon? Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you, Allison.
Not a pleasant surprise. Community, connected, preconception, intention, all of those things.
Mm.
All of those words are intentions.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice frame, Jesse. It's a good one to be aware of. I hadn't put that together before. Thank you. Makes me think of the title of a book that was written by a mystic. I think she was in the 1930s. And the title of the book was Your Word is Your Wand.
Yes, ain't that the truth?
Your word is your want.
Yeah, Pascal.
Want or wand?
Wand with a D.
Yeah.
W-A-N.
As in magic wand.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I go. They can go for both.
Yeah.
Yes. But I always gravitate towards magic, so I love the notion of it. And yet it's just what we are capable of. But it's still magic.
Selling yourself.
Yeah, we just call them miracles because they're unusual in our experience.
Mm-hmm. Being born is a miracle. Being conceived is a miracle.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by the big surprise.
Ginny used to call that a BFO, blinding, flashing object. No, blinding, flashing, obvious. Sorry, not object.
Yeah, yeah.
And we get to those through our imperfect actions. But our intent with our imperfect actions isn't imperfect. Our intent is perfect for us at that particular point in time.
Yeah, and perfect action. It's imperfect is just perfect.
It's perfectly imperfect.
It's always our choice how we look at it, the lens in which we view it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we practice that because we want to live from that space 24/7.
Jesse, when you brought awareness back to intention, I don't know what it was about the timing of it, but we have a very so-called dreary day here today with thick cloud cover. And the thing that changed my mood about it when I saw it this morning was that there are quite a lot of birds around at the moment because there's some of them are left or some of them are gathering still to migrate. Others are looking for food. So there's a lot of chatter, chitter, chatter, chitter, chatter. And I was so grateful. It just brought this spark of joy. And then when you said the word intention, something happened for me and I felt the energy of devotion. And it was just, my thought was how much intention there is with devotion, but it's a movement of energy. It starts with an intent. Maybe it ends with one as well. I'm not sure yet. But that expansiveness. And usually we think about devotion, as being devoted to somebody. But it's actually so broad and so wide. And there are times where, like this morning when I got that and it's still around, it's just this unbelievably beautiful expansion with hardly an horizon. And it feels a bit like the void, like the field. Actually, it feels the same. And I think one of the things about it that was so welcoming for me is because even though I have relative peace in where I live, I have a lot of people around me that are in some way or other attached to places in the world where there isn't peace, in terms of that there's a war going on. And it's so hard. And in that case, in those extreme cases, because they for me they really are extreme ways of being in the world. And I don't know really how don't know really how to make it better other than just being with people in their pain.
That's interesting because that's where I've been led the last few weeks, is toward a bunch of people who are in pain. And I don't understand that, but here I am.
I had to leave a job that I loved because the pain was too much. It was affecting me physically too much. My body couldn't do it. And it was with people that were in a lot of pain. And I'll never forget that one last experience that I had that was a deciding factor for me because of the impact that it had on me physically. And I was driving home just crying and crying. And in the crying, I realized that I was crying because I realized that I needed to leave. The nature of the job had turned, and my original intent was no longer what I could do, because of our funding. And so I was having to remove children from their homes, and I couldn't do it. And I was sitting in the driveway because I didn't want to go into the house being quite as distressed as I still was by the time I got home. And I thought to myself, how can you leave when there's so much need? And then the answer was, well, because you can't perform the job in the way that you should. And if you can't do that, there are consequences to that. And so you won't be able to do it anyway. And then my next thing was, so what am I going to do now? And I was very, very fortunate because I had my training. I was not dependent upon my job. But I was thinking about the reverberation of the energy. And I realized then, perhaps more than any other time, or that was the most clear, that's the most clarity that I had, I think, about the impact of when you recognize. So we come up again with that thing about accepting limits. When you recognize where you can't go at that point in time, doesn't mean to say that you can never go there. But when you recognize your limit at that point, somehow your gift also becomes very clear. And my conclusion was that what I could do was I could leave the organization and be available to the people that worked there. So that's what I could do. That's where my vibration would be more useful and more empowering. And you spoke earlier, Jessie, I can't remember now how you started it. So I don't know if you'll remember, but you just went through that. You named the steps of the process of what we go through. That was what you did. And we do that over and over again. And I guess the reason why I got the dragon for you, Craig, was because that's what our dragons help us to do, right?
Raise the bar.
So what exactly do our dragons help us to do?
Well, think about it. It's for you to decide, right?
Okay.
Not for
Okay.
me to say. Sorry, Pascal, you said something and I didn't hear it.
Oh, I just say raise the bar.
Yes, exactly. And with that, Pascal, when you said rising above, I think what came to me then was also the first step is, my first step is always to ask myself, where's my power? Is it dangling outside around me, or is it inside and facilitating the alignment? Because without the alignment, I don't have the energy to rise above.
Yeah, because you were talking about the Vulcan earlier. What came to mind, like, yeah, that's great. Like to help people outside of ourselves.
Mm.
There's nothing outside of ourselves.
Mm.
It's always just within. Within.
Always. Yeah.
And for me, like, you know, tried so many times in my life to vent, help, try to pull people out of the fire, but to realize that I wasn't really helping them. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm just going to lead by example. What feels true and real for me, that's all I'm going to
Mm.
do.
And you know, that true and real speaks to the authenticity and the integrity then of the structure that you create.
Yeah. And it creates my reality.
Sorry, say that again.
It creates my reality and the people
Th-
around me.
Exactly.
You know, I got a friend of mine, and my wife and I were talking about her a bit. Okay? Not in a bad way, just to be aware of what she's doing. And every single time, like I don't know how many jobs she went through, there's always someone that's a bugger that is after her that the boss is not paying or anything like that.
Mm.
And I'm not saying like these events didn't happen to her, but every single time she goes back with the same attitude. She never changed
Mm.
herself.
Mm.
And it's always like a younger girl that just started there, that's bossing her around. And instead than like, stand up for herself, because she's super like lovely and, like really gentle with people. She, she cannot face the music. And like I can tell that like my wife is changing, weirdly enough. It's like she brings this up with me. And I'm like, wow. Did I say that like about 2 3 years ago, 5 years maybe? But it's just a pure example that like you lead by example and then like you plant seeds, right? And you water them once in a while. It grows. Eventually like you grow the forest, so everything is aligned with you. You might have to clean up the forest once in a while.
Before I go, I just want to comment, Pascal, your retelling of that story, what stood out for me was your experience of your wife's response, or her question. And there was a little bit of a surprise in there, a pleasant surprise. And that was really beautiful to hear. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, everybody, have a great day. And thank you again.
Great day.
And you
Have a
too,
good
Allison.
weekend.
We
Bye.
hear from you.
Bye, Allison.
You too, Allison.
Well, gentlemen, thank you again. Great morning.
Yep. Thank you for a great
Have a good
day.
Friday. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Friday. Oh my God. Can't believe it. Been waiting for this forever.
There you go. It's here. It's here. December 1st.
Just another day. Another day.
First day of winter.
First day of winter.
First day of winter?
No, not yet. Got 3 weeks to wait.
Doesn't feel like winter here though. They said we're gonna have a mild winter.
All right, guys. Well,
That's
have a
goodbye.
good day.
Yep. Bye.
Yep.
Love and
We
hug.
got
Yeah,
a-
love and hugs, everybody.